I once stepped into a room with the smartest being on earth. It could solve extremely complex problems in minutes that would take today's computers longer than the age of the universe. I thought it could teach me everything I'd ever hoped to know, like what job will actually make me happy, how to stop procrastinating, and whether pineapple really belongs on pizza. I was very excited. But the only strange thing I noticed, it lived alone. And it was locked away, in complete darkness. It was hanging in a special type of fridge, at the coldest achievable temperatures in the universe. It was not a person. Hidden inside that fridge, it seemed like a golden chandelier of wires. And at the bottom, there was a tiny, very powerful chip, smaller than the size of my fingernail. Yet, it was silent. The only way for me to talk to it was via this thick bundle of tangled wires connecting it with the outside world. It was a quantum computer. Why should we all care about a quantum computer? While still in development for probably at least another decade, quantum computers have the promise to solve certain very complex problems exponentially faster than normal computers, or even the most powerful classical supercomputers. My name is Andries Boelen, and our team recently published an article in Science magazine that contributes to this next technological revolution of quantum computing. In practice, quantum computers are expected to be broadly useful for two types of tasks: simulating the behavior of physical systems and identifying patterns and structures in very large amounts of data. For example, quantum computers could help us design new medicines by simulating the behavior and the interactions of molecules. These simulations are way too complex for classical computers. Quantum computers would not replace lab experiments, but they could tell us which experiments are worth doing without searching blindly, reducing years of trial and error in the lab. Imagine creating an effective medicine against cancer or Alzheimer's disease in weeks rather than decades. Imagine your doctor could test that cancer drug on a digital twin of your tumor before you ever take the first pill. Maybe it could have saved the life of my grandmother and so many others. Especially the weeks or even months of tests in the hospital that were the hardest part could have been reduced tremendously. Quantum computing promises a future with less guessing. Every single one of us will benefit from quantum. Furthermore, quantum computers could enhance AI models, cybersecurity, weather forecasting, which will become increasingly important with climate change, financial and logistic optimization, and so much more. The same kind of optimization could lead to fewer traffic jams, less energy wasted in the grid, and faster supply chains when medicines are scarce. So here's why you should care. The day we can reliably build and talk to these machines, and we will, problems that are currently impossible to solve will become solvable. Problems affecting your health, your privacy, and our planet. So how does a quantum computer work? And what's the difference from a classical computer that we all use? At its core, every message a classical computer understands is incredibly easy. It's either a yes or a no, black or white, 0 or 1. The value of 0 or 1 is binary, and it's called a bit. And a computer, a classical one, uses large amounts and patterns of these bits to operate. To give you an idea, a chip currently in your smartphone can hold about 20 billion of these bits. Now, unlike classical bits, 0 or 1, quantum computers use quantum bits, or qubits. The special thing about them is that they can exist as 0 or 1, but also as a combination of them. They can be both 0 and 1 at the same time. They can be gray. This property is called superposition, and it can be explained by the laws of quantum mechanics, the way things work at the tiniest scales of atoms, which is completely different from the laws of classical physics that we all experience in our daily lives. Before we get to more miracles, you need one simple idea to understand superposition. A classical bit is like a coin laying flat on the table. It's either heads or tails, 0 or 1. A qubit is like a spinning coin. While the coin is spinning, it's not really heads or tails. It can be seen as a combination of being both heads and tails at the same time. That is superposition. Only the moment the coin lands, you get your definite answer. Now, take 2 or even more coins and start to spin them. A second principle of quantum mechanics is called entanglement. The coins can be spatially disconnected, far apart from each other, with nothing in between them, but their information can still be connected. And this means if we start spinning all the coins, and we stop only one coin from spinning, we can immediately know also the state of all the other coins. This seems science fiction, but it actually happens at the smallest scales. And by applying these two tricks of quantum mechanics, quantum computers don't have to try one single solution at a time, like classical computers do. Because the qubits, the spinning coins, can be in multiple states at the same time, and they can entangle their information, they can explore many possibilities at once, allowing massive parallel processing of vast amounts of information. Imagine you need to find the exit of a maze. A classical computer will try one single path at a time by going left or right, 0 or 1, until it finds the exit. A quantum computer will take into account all possible paths at once. It can go left and right at the same time. It then cancels out all the paths leading to dead ends, and it will give you the correct path leading to the exit. One important thing. Quantum computers are not just faster and better computers. They are different computers. A quantum computer will not replace your laptop, just like a boat doesn't replace a car. They have different purposes. A quantum computer will not check your mail, will not make better PowerPoint slides, and won't tell you where a pineapple belongs on pizza. But for a small number of incredibly complex tasks, quantum computers can do things no other computer ever could. Now I want you all to think about the password of your email. Got it? In the future, when you forget that password once again, an option could be to ask all 600 of us to start guessing your password randomly. if your password consists, for example, out of 7 characters, this could take us all about 1,000 years to log in. A sufficiently powerful quantum computer could beat all of us in just a few minutes. Hence, I would advise you to use longer passwords. No worries, a password consisting out of 12 characters is already quite safe. But how can the quantum computer tell you what your password is? Remember, in the beginning, I told you I was only able to talk to the quantum computer via this thick bundle of tangled wires through which electricity flows. The quantum computer operates and thinks using electricity, but it also tries to speak using electricity. Every single qubit inside the fridge is connected to a single wire. Current quantum computers are like early telephones. One machine, one wire, and one noisy conversation. The problem with these electrical wires is that they are very expensive and they take up most of the space inside the fridge. Even more important, each wire brings in heat and vibrations into the fridge, which is detrimental for the qubit's life, as these unbelievable states are also incredibly fragile and sensitive to the surrounding environment. That's why we keep them at such cold temperatures and under high vacuum conditions, away from any disturbance. The future of quantum computing isn't just about smarter machines. It's also learning how to talk to them. And sometimes the best way to speak is not using electricity, but using light. Light can carry more information, faster, with minimal heat and extremely low noise. Furthermore, optical wires take up less space inside the fridge, which will be important when we want to create practical quantum computers with millions of qubits. So the question becomes, can we translate the electrical thoughts of the quantum computer into light? The challenge, therefore, is to create a translator between electricity and light. This is called an electro-optic modulator. It acts like a light switch that turns on or off the light by electrical signals. And you all already use these translators in your everyday life. For example, the internet. The reason you can communicate to someone at the other side of the world, almost at the speed of light, is also light. The electrical message you send out on your laptop or your smartphone gets translated into an optical signal. It then travels all the way to the receiver, where it gets translated back into an electrical message, so he or she can read out the message you sent them on their device. Also, the future of quantum computing needs light to communicate. But the standard materials that are used as a translator for the internet, they don't work well at the extremely cold temperatures at which qubits operate. That's why our team is engineering very thin films of a crystal material, strontium titanate, that can be very good translators, specifically at these cold temperatures rather than at room temperature. To be a clear translator, the crystal quality of these films needs to be extremely perfect, meaning all atoms need to be well aligned, without defects. And this is more challenging than it seems. That's why we are fabricating them in dedicated tools in a clean room, a lab free from dust and other contaminants. By using this material, which is about 1,000 times thinner than a human hair, we can translate the electrical thoughts of the quantum computer into light. And this light signal will then travel outside of the fridge to the readout electronics, where you and I can discover what an amazing new cure against cancer the smartest being on Earth has developed in no time. Let's spin coins in the future and save lives of friends and family and so much more. So one day, in that room, won't be a lonely fridge with many electrical wires. It will be a system we can actually speak to through light. By using light, we are giving quantum computers a voice. Thank you.